Should I buy the dip? What are you talking about? Salsa? You see any chips? So Walmart had 7% revenue growth, and then 6% revenue growth. Gross profit margin is 25%, super consistently. It's almost like they have that policy with their suppliers. Operating margin 4%. So you have to deal with 4% operating margins. Do they tell their suppliers straight up, we're going to keep a 25% margin, take it or leave it? Really? It's got to be some goods that they can't get that kind of margin on, right? Yeah, space is probably overvalued. I mean, we'll see how that industry develops. Okay, so cash flow. Let's look at cash flow. This is not just the PP&E. You have other forms of capital you do have to put out, which is, inventories, and there's no accounts receivables, which is nice because your customer's paying cash up front, basically. I mean, close to book value, I would automatically end quantum short. So cash flow, materially higher than net income, really important. So a lot of you, when you look at PE ratios, I think you guys think that a PE is just, the E is always immutable, that E is one thing, and it's not. There's a lot to that E that it's not what it looks like. Basically, no acquisitions for Walmart last 3 years. Kind of nuts. I think for an $800 billion company, you would expect them to be able to do acquisitions, but I also think they're probably scared of Democrats. Yeah, well, earnings can be a lot of different things. And free cash flow, look at free cash flow for Walmart is $15 billion, but earnings are $16 billion. Which E are you going to use? What happens if there's a really big difference? Now what? I wouldn't call Walmart's business a niche. I am not up today, Josh. Pretty soon we're going to have Godel customer support and sales, or you can call up, chat with me anytime you want. I don't know how long I'm going to have to pick up the phone. If you have something useful to say, I'll hear you. I'm still up quite a bit since I started the account. I mean, we're selling Godel to hedge funds, if that's what your question is. I just got a really good mark at year end. I think it was right around. Actually, it was weird because Jensen's thing came a few days after year end, right? So that was the high water mark. All right, so what's Walmart all about here? Oh, let's also look at most while we're at it. All right, we got NVIDIA has traded the most, 165. Marathon Digital, Core Scientific, Plug Power, D-Wave, John Wiley & Sons, the publisher. I love their stuff, $2.3 billion. I didn't even know they're public. Rigetti on the gainers list, because there are not many gainers today, so 6% gets you there. MongoDB down 24%. I swear to God, this company, every quarter, they either hit it out of the park or they fumble. What's traded the most? Well, NVIDIA and Tesla have traded $15 and $19 billion. Palantir and Strategy are third and fourth. Kind of tells you something that these are the most active stocks by cash. They're above even Apple, which is traded $4.5 billion, Broadcom 4.3, and Meta 4. Those are much bigger market caps than Strategy and Palantir, but they traded so much far less. And then Amazon and Microsoft. So these, the 5 biggest companies in the world, have traded less dollars than Strategy and Palantir. Kind of interesting. Alibaba, Netflix. There's Marvell, of course, which is expected. They reported. Alphabet, AppLovin, which isn't expected since it's in sort of this throes of whether or not it's going to persist and exist as a successful company. Taiwan Semi, very big company. Makes sense that it's there. But then you have Mongo, who reported. Supermicro, which is a stock du jour. Alphabet. JD, AMD, Visa, Lilly, Salesforce, GE Vernova, which is the GE spinout, and Berkshire. So yeah, surprising that 𝐼𝐴 could not sustain that rally and just dropped sort of further. So swapping out of 𝐼𝐴 and into Rigetti has not been profitable since Rigetti has outperformed 𝐼𝐴 the last few hours. That does not necessarily mean anything for the next few hours. A lot of red today. Very few stocks are up. Very few. And this one was supposed to be down most of all, right? But okay, so here's the situation for capex and free cash flow for Walmart. Last 3 years, free cash flow went from 11 billion, 12 billion, 15 billion. Walmart's around 800 billion. Wow. So you're telling me people are willing to pay? I must have made a mistake, man. Who wants to pay 50 times earnings for Walmart? Am I nuts? Is that the valuation?
Partially.
Can't be, right? Can't be.
Filled.
Yeah, did I make a mistake somewhere here? Yeah, I mean 50, 40. I mean, I'm talking about 50 backwards looking. You could say forwards looking, they'll do, let's say they'll do 18 billion, and that's 44 times earnings. Exact right stock price. Well, it's not 40 PE if I say so. I know how to do math. It could be net income's running ahead of, well, net income's running ahead of cash flow. So that explains a little bit of the extra PE. But, I'm looking at cash flow. It's insane. That's why I've been bearish. We're paying 40 times for the most saturated company on planet Earth. How many more Walmarts are we going to get? 40 to 50 times earnings? Wait, it's 780 billion, 760 billion market cap.
To me, if you're an internet person, you're not real to me. You know what I mean? I don't know what it feels like to be such a coward. Man, I'm so scared I can't put my real name or my photo on this internet, man. What if my job finds out? I might get fired from the construction site. I put my whole address on the internet. Here, come get me. Come on. What's up? Yeah, there's no speed up, although theoretically, at some point, a quantum computer should be able to outpace a normal computer for any kind of operation. But yeah, algebra is not exactly known to be compute sensitive. Most things are not gated by compute these days. I mean, that's kind of what I've been saying for a long time, is that there's just not that many things that you want to be computing. What do you really need compute for? It's a finite amount of things that you care for. We got Costco and we got 𝗍𝗂𝗍𝗀. Shall we look at these numbers? All right, Broadcom. This is the February quarter. Literally just ended. $14,916. Month ago, or quarter ago, was $14,054. $11,961. A year ago, revenue still lapping an acquisition. Sort of always the case for Broadcom, isn't it? Margins, 78%, pretty high. Really big, high margin company. It's one of the things about Broadcom that's a little unusual. Absurd operating margin, 57%. Lunar cut in half, wow. Yeah, I never trusted these things. Broadcom cash flow is $6 billion. This post-acquisition kind of era. Still expensive. Broadcom just hovering around $1 trillion. What's going on? More action here? Holy moly, BBAI. Hopefully I talked some of you guys either out of owning this or into shorting it. Yeah. Basically anything that you see on the internet that people like, don't buy it. Okay? Look for some stock nobody's ever mentioned on Twitter. Nobody's ever mentioned it on X. Nobody's ever mentioned it on TikTok or StockTwits. Don't look at any stock you see on the internet. I don't know if it's an automatic short, but just go somewhere else. You don't have to trade what other people are trading, In fact, kind of by definition, you're not going to do well. If that makes sense. Like a recipe for failure. I don't know if you have to look at Romanian stocks, but I'm not sure you want to look at the well-trodden stocks, right? And I'm not saying you should short stuff that is closely watched. It's just, what you guys are missing, which I'm surprised by, is that you were looking, in case you don't know, for something called alpha. Alpha is where people are not looking. Here's some stocks people are looking at pretty closely. I don't know, there's just a few of them that you may be familiar with, okay? So I don't know how you're gonna find alpha in any of these stocks. Why would you ever want to look at these stocks? There's no point. If you're looking at these stocks, oh yeah, here's another one to add to the list. I've seen some more of an attention paid to these companies. What are those rocket companies? ASTS, Palantir. Oh yeah, of course GameStop and AMC, although you don't hear much about them anymore. Wonder why that is. I mean, big cap stocks are going to be looked at regardless. I'm talking more smallish. I mean, if you're going to look at a widely looked at stock, consider shorting it. I mean, just looking at Walmart today, Walmart's 40, 50 times earnings. Walmart should be 12 times earnings. I mean, I just think if you look at a bunch of stocks and you hate them all, they're all too expensive, then market's a short. Yeah, Costco and Walmart are overvalued, man. I don't know what people are thinking. Oh boy. So basically they're saying inflation's coming. Inflation's is gonna kill us. You need this car. Give me my water. Okay, you need this used car. The price hike. It's like an uppercut. Is everything just clown world that we're living in? How are these stocks so expensive? Costco, Walmart. Why are we paying tech multiples for these companies? It's like comical.
I mean, I'm bearish, but nobody knows what's going to happen in the macro. Anytime you talk to somebody about general market views, it's nonsense. It's not even worth the breath. Well, Plato, bonds haven't changed much, so equities are just super expensive. It doesn't really matter what cause did. It will correct itself. There's no free lunch. Index funds don't count. Well, I would try to find an intelligent way to put the trade on. I wouldn't just jump in on the short side. I mean, it's probably a good first reaction, but see if there's a smarter way to do it. Yeah, tomorrow could be a big bag holder day because there's kind of no catalyst left. Somebody said the NVIDIA thing is a catalyst. Bro, that's not even going to be like webcast. Nothing's happening at the NVIDIA day. 𝐼𝐤 tried to say that the next NVIDIA, the stock didn't even go up. It's Jover. It's so Jover. It's not even over. It's Jover. And you're doing $2 million in revenue in Q4. My bags, all my apes are gone. What you do is you call in, pretending you're some other analyst, and just be like, oh, hey, it's Martin Shkreli from Shkreli Capital. My wires must have gotten crossed. This isn't the Morgan Stanley analyst. Anyway, my question is, what is 2025 revenue going to look like? Do you think it'll be up year over year? At least it's going to be up, right? Can't be down year over year. Can it? You got to sell more machines than you did last year, right? The analysts, they all want the next ATM. They want to get paid 2% on that. So, look, we know what happened with Rigetti. Nothing's interesting there. The baggies are going to be like, what? I thought this was like Palantir. Well, Palantir, bro. I mean, there's nothing about today that's really that relevant. I do think anybody who was excited is going to be pretty disappointed. And, probably sell off just for that reason alone. Boredom is what kills these kinds of stocks. When you have a stock that's supposed to be going up or has the potential to 2x or 5x or 10x, which is obviously the baggy vision, bubble vision, and then they have a quarter and they have $2 million of revenue, not even growing. It'd be one thing if last year was 1 million. Last year was 3 million. And this year's 2 million. You're going the wrong direction, pal. No, not that way, this way. No, you're pressing the reverse. You gotta press the gas. Gas. Afuera. I'm not much of a bag holder. I tend to just be, when I have a losing position, I tend to get mad at the position. I admit that it sucks. A baggy doesn't admit reality. When I lose an investment, I'm like, the baggy starts making excuses. The baggy's like, no, Rigetti is world changing. And my favorite is like cassava or like something like that. But like sometimes people never let go of the dream. Like NWBO, Bed Bath & Beyond, MMLTP. Like there's a whole bunch of these that are like, people still think it'll come back. AMC. Oh, it's coming. It's coming, but man, even though that I think BBBY, right? They filed for bankruptcy. And they're still like, it's going to come back. It's manipulation. They're suppressing it. Anytime they use the word they, that's what tells you. That's, they're synthetic shares. I'm like, listen, guys, I've been on Wall Street a long time with synthetic shares. They're like, they keep talking, and I go, you're talking about a swap. You know what a swap is? You understand, like, the difference between a swap and what you're saying is some big conspiracy? And they're like, no swaps are conspiracy. It's like, listen, I can make a contract with you, right? Where I bet that this stock will go down and you bet the stock will go up, right? We signed the contract. We never have to trade a share. As long as you can pay me and I'm going to pay you. That's it. They're like, it's suppression. No, it isn't, though. We got my rolling kitty. He's going to tweet. Ryan Cohn, he's going to tweet. And when the tweets combine and you decode it, it tells you there's going to be a score squeeze. When that score squeeze comes, that's when I get rich. Because I got that 600 shares. Now, you see, them 600 shares, at $30 a piece. You may say big deal. That ain't nothing. AMC too. I'm going to movie theater every week to support them. Bed Bath Beyond is the funniest. They actually think there's like, I don't know if you guys know, have you been down this rabbit hole for Bed Bath & Beyond? Because they said something like, there is a children's book. Okay, have you heard about this? Do I have the right company? It's Bed Bath & Beyond, right? There's a book. It's some kind of Teddy. Ryan Cohen wrote one. Okay, here it is.
Why did Amazon send me 20?
There is no bankruptcy. The company filed for bankruptcy, mind you. Liquidation bankruptcy. They literally filed for bankruptcy. I think a good chunk of people are mentally ill. They literally filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy on April 23rd. To the GameStop and more specifically Bed Bath & Beyond communities, cherish the wait. You have no idea how strong this process has made you. We've won. Not the war, of course, but the great battle is ours. The war is eternal. And when the money is settled into your account, the pride is settled into your egoic mind, the dopamine is settled back into the synapse, you will discover a new and dangerous battlefield unlike anything you've ever contemplated. It will be a gut punch to the soul, and it will come from every angle, in your home, in your peer group, in your feed, everywhere. I promise you, it's going to be more difficult than you can imagine. And it will be then, as you question yourself against this powerful dark force, that you will summon the strength of mind, body, and soul, forged in this fire of fear, uncertainty, and doubt. As you gather your spirit against the shaky terrain, you will implicitly understand that the only way across this new and treacherous land is to utilize the same strategy that got you here. We ride together. This is only the beginning. The camaraderie we shared, the trust we built, the skills we sharpened, and the hope we refused to abandon. Okay, here's the clue. If you take the 28th, make Thanksgiving great again, take 12-2, TikTok, and Teddy plays in the snow, then he posts on 12-3, but Bed Bath announced on 3-5 and 3-7. So that means there's going to be a Thanksgiving announcement. Here's another guy. Some more due diligence. Here's some more due diligence. The stock was canceled September 29th. Is it a coincidence? I don't think so. And the share certificates were removed from DTC Participant Network on October 18th. But Jerry, who's a character in the book, children's book that he wrote, was in the hospital for 365 days. But Ryan was only indicating a year generally before the stock returned. According to USDA's crop report, crops were on pace for maturity, see? And that's why we're going to have Teddy Holdings, which is Bed Bath & Beyond, plus GameStop merging. AMC squeeze hasn't been squoze. You call 67 a squeeze, we're going to 100 before it's over. He tweeted a pic with 𝗏𝐼𝐼 on October 17th. But that was a year exactly before, so he knew in advance to launch Teddy, and the shares got delisted. You know what gematria is? Okay. It's a Jewish calculator. Carl is Jewish. Ryan Cohen's Jewish. If you type Teddy Holdings into the calculator, this is what you get. The Julian calendar is a solar calendar. The frog emoji that he tweeted means leap year. If you add 13 days to Thanksgiving, you will get December 10th, which is GameStop earnings. His tweet of Ted has a unique button-up t-shirt with a single square color. It has a different blue shade and is different from the rest, which I mark as 1A. Next, I compared 1A to the company logos listed. It matches Bed Bath & Beyond's logo, coincidentally also in square format. This is my favorite. Fidelity. What do you mean expired? How can shares held in a cash account expire? Can you please explain what's going on with Bed Bath & Beyond to the masses? Otherwise, thousands of complaints will be logged to the SEC. Hi, shares of Bed Bath & Beyond have been delisted. This security has been deemed to have no stockholder equity. It is now considered worthless. There will be no future distributions and positions have been removed from shareholder accounts as of October 18th. Stealing my shares. Guys, it's done. We won. Canceling of shares is scary but bullish. They could have let our shares rot worthless in our accounts. It's just for OSTK to take the ticker ASAP. Canceling is what we were expecting. A new issuance cannot occur without the recall. Brokers don't know what's going on. I officially have to sell some GameStop shares later this week in order to buy Thanksgiving dinner for my boys. This is not the way
It is unfortunately if you have a family to feed. You sell plasma if you have to. I had to do it to keep me afloat when I was close to having to sell shares. Didn't sell. We were up 500K, still holding, back down to 20K. Confident we get our rocket by the weekend, and me and the 3 kids and wife got to go to a motel or back to our parents' place. But once my family's rich, I'll be their savior. Children and animals must be protected at all costs. It was a pleasure holding with you boys, but our time is now. No cap.